All right, here's our watercolor tray with watercolor cakes. All these are hard. They haven't been moistened yet. Here's my water from before. Clear water. I'm gonna put some on top of this black. And then I'm gonna do something called dry brush. It's really interesting. Normally, I'm gonna put water here in my palette. I'm gonna use the top tray as my palette. I'm gonna add water here. So this forms like kind of a light gray, and I can do a test here. A little bit of black, more water than black. And I'm gonna test this over here on the side. I think that's okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna get gray paint in my brush, and then I have a towel here. I'm gonna wipe it onto the towel so my brush is dry. This technique is called dry brush. That's what it's called, a dry brush. And so normally you have like a wet brush. I'm gonna wipe it here on a towel, and then when you do a stroke on top of this, it forms like a dry brush. Let me do that one more time. Some black, wipe it on the towel. And then if you do a light feathery motion, it turns out streaky, like you're painting with a dry brush. Normally you don't want to do that, but it makes it realistic, and it makes it look more like wood, or maybe the gray streaks of a sunflower, sometimes tree bark. And then here's one last thing. I don't know if you can tell here, but the sunlight coming through my living room or my dining room is casting some shadows. Here's one other thing you can do to make this look realistic for a still life. Let's get a darker gray. Maybe that's too dark. I think this is about right. And then I'm gonna paint some shadows. Light in this setup for my still life is going from right to left. And so it's gonna be lighter on the right-hand side, and it's gonna cast a shadow on the left. And so I'm gonna try doing this. I'm gonna paint actually from left to right, and just paint a small shadow. That's a cast shadow on the left-hand side, because the light source is coming from the right over in this direction, so it's casting a shadow. And if you paint those shadows, it makes your still life look realistic. And that's okay if it's a little bit irregular, because in life, all those shadows are going to be a little irregular too. I think that is it. So hopefully you've seen this progression from the sunflower to the seed. If we were actually in a class, I could show you in real life that the seeds germinate. So a little root starts to come out from the seed if you put it in water, and then the roots grow in one direction, and then a little seedling grows in the other direction, and that seed becomes a plant. It becomes the sunflower plant, the flower, and then the flower blooms on top. So that is it for our painting segment, and I look forward to seeing all of your work and meeting you through the Zoom session in your class. Thank you so much.